Welcome back to Cricbuzz Live. It felt like only one team reached the ground today at Ahmedabad because it was South Africa all the way from the beginning to the end. South Africa have won by 9 wickets. Aiden Markram not out 82, Quinton de Kock got 47 and Ryan Rickelton got 45. Roston Chase, the only one who got a wicket, 1 for 46 in his 4. We're back at Cricbuzz Live. I've got Michael and Ajinkya with me. Ajinkya, Michael. It almost felt like South Africa were in a raging hurry. It felt like they wanted to go back to their hotels, play some paddle, some golf, because they were in such a hurry.
Well, they've put a marker down throughout the whole of the World Cup, beating India convincingly in their last game, the chase against New Zealand. Now, obviously, chasing down the score by the West Indies, which ended up being a long way short of par, but they've got power, and I think what they've got away from the power is they're a streetwise team now, South Africa. Yeah. It's just whether that bowling attack, when the pitches potentially spin, they haven't got too much in the mystery spin department, but they've got really clever seam bowlers that bowl the slower balls, got a good captain. They weren't great in the field tonight, but generally they're good fielding side. They've got everything that you'd require to win a World Cup trophy. So it's just now for South Africa. Mathematically, it's not absolute that they're in the semi, but it pretty much is.
Yes.
Can they produce 2 performances like they've just produced? If they can, they're going to take some stopping in this year's World Cup.
Well, Ajinkya, for all Indian fans, breathe in, breathe out, one step clear, because South Africa have won this game comprehensively, so that net run rate issue is out. I don't think Indian fans have cheered for South Africa so much ever, because South Africa gets those 2 points. We'll have a look at that points table and see what happens there. That net run rate now, which West Indies was soaring high with, has come to plus 1.791. India has a game coming up next against Zimbabwe, which we'll talk about later. But all the net run rates now are not, flying high. So India will be relieved, but chatting a little more about what South Africa has done. We spoke about it in our mid-match show. They didn't really put on a very good effort in the field. Even their bowling, they would have liked to close things up. They had West Indies for 6 at 86. They didn't close things up. But they didn't carry all this when they went out to bat. They batted like they were in a big hurry.
Yeah, we spoke about South Africa switch off during fielding, but I think they were completely switched on when they started batting. The intent which they backed, chasing 160, 176, was again a small total on that wicket. I thought West Indies were 30 runs short. 210, 20 would have been really good, ideal on this wicket. They batted Markram, de Kock, and then Rickelton. It was amazing. Clearly, apart from India, the best team in this World Cup so far. Very well balanced. How they are playing, as Michael mentioned, the bowling attack which they have, especially with a slow wicket or very good wicket. I think the experience which they are showing as a bowling unit, fast bowlers, bowling those cutters, bowling those hard lengths, bring any wicket, South Africa is there. So I think they must be really happy with the performance. Completely one-sided dominate first 10 overs with ball, and then chasing down the target here, 176 was amazing.
Michael, you were talking about that qualification scenario for South Africa. They've done India a favor by winning. If India beats Zimbabwe, and then South Africa qualifies, so now South Africa will be cheering for India in that next game. But again, in our pre-match show, Michael, we were talking about how West Indies and South Africa have looked like the most complete teams. What happened to West Indies today?
Well, I think it started before the game when they got too funky with their selection. I always look at T20 cricket. If you've got 4 players that can get you 100, there's your top 4. Then you've got your cameo players coming in 5, 6, 7, 8. If you've got a bowling attack and you look at your bowling attack and one of your top 3 bowlers, which is Axar Hassan, he has to play because he's one of your top 3 bowlers. If he's a 4th or a 5th bowling option, you kind of go, okay, you can manoeuvre your team and you gamble on a Roston Chase, gives you a bit more batting, he can bowl you a bit of off tweak. But Axar Hassan is their star bowler in the power play. He doesn't play, the power play goes to all parts. The seamers come on, they're not used to bowling in the power play because they haven't been having to do so, because Axar basically bowls 3 and a seamer will bowl at the other end, if not a spinner. So for me, it started with selection. I think sometimes you can overcomplicate life, and that's exactly what the West Indies done, and that's what they've not been doing throughout the World Cup. So I'm sure they'll look back on that and think, yeah, we've probably overcomplicated it slightly. But I do think they've come up against a side that, you look at South Africa, they fielded really badly.
Yes.
Yet they've absolutely strolled the game. So even when South Africa don't bring one of their three disciplines, and their bowling wasn't quite as good as it has been either. So let's give the bowling 6 out of 10. Let's give the fielding 3 out of 10. And they've still won a game of cricket easily because they batted so well. That's a sign of a really good cricket team. When you're not quite on in one kind of facet of the game, you're not quite on brilliantly in another, but you are very good in just one facet of the game, and they've strolled the game. So that's a bit of a warning sign to the rest of the tournament. It's just whether, I'll keep going back to India in the 50 over World Cup here in India, where they were 10 out of 10 right to the final. Yeah. And the South Africans have just got to be wary that it's sometimes not possible. You sometimes need a little bit of a blip along the way. They'll say that they won't need a blip because they're playing so well, but I'll say now this has happened, it would not surprise me at all if it's a South Africa-India final.
Well, that's a big one there, Michael. But there you always slip in that thing that no Indian fan wants to talk about or hear. What happened on the 19th of November?
No, but this is why I say it, because if you think about what could happen, they could have a moment back in Ahmedabad where they can put right what went wrong.
Yes.
A couple of years ago. It could be their moment. They've got to win some games, but I just think this is the 3 hours of cricket that have just, if you're the Indian players now, you've just seen that, you're springing into tonight's game, and you know that you've got the West Indies in Calcutta, which will be a big game of cricket, but I think those Indian players who will be as brilliant players, for me in sport, you don't give world-class performers another chance. The Indian players have had another chance now.
See, I think every single team must be really appreciating the way South Africa is playing. Even Indian team must be worried about how well South Africa is playing at the moment. You see their batting, their fielding. Yes, one off came today. They fielded really badly, which can happen to anyone. But the bowling, the adaptation to this format, playing under pressure. We saw what happened against Afghanistan, the 2 super overs. Yes. They kept really, they were composed, they were calm, whoever was bowling. But I think as a team, they looked really composed under pressure. South Africa, 4 or 5 years back, we were talking about under pressure, they used to crumble. But right now, they can actually be really composed and calm under pressure. Looks like they're really enjoying each other's success. Yes. As a team, they're playing together as a unit. They're really good, really strong. And I think the credit goes to the captain, how he's handling everyone. On and off the field, that unity, you can actually see it on the field. Markram, he's been leading the side really well. He's a great guy. We spoke about him, Markram, as a batter, as a player, but as a leader, he's been fantastic. How he is using the bowlers, adapting to the situation, and also the planning wise, I thought the South Africans were really good. Yes. This game, we actually expected South Africans will bowl more slower balls, but I thought they've kept on bowling those hard length. They bowled many slower balls against Indian teams, so that goes to show they're actually analyzing game by game. They're actually doing studies against opponents. So it was good to see South Africa doing so well. You spoke about Indian fans taking breathe in and breathe out. I think the breathe out will be slightly longer. They'll be really happy with the South Africa winning this game. But again, it's simple for India now. Basically, just win the game. Don't worry about the run rate and all. Just win both the matches and they'll be through.
Well, you were speaking about Markram and what he's done, how he's been so calm, so composed. Today we see that again, 82 of 46, strike rate of 178. Michael, he's just someone who didn't let the West Indian bowlers settle at all. He went bang, bang from the word go.
Yeah, he's a brilliant player and has been for a few years. But I go back when he first started playing, he wasn't the player he is now. He wasn't as big and he wasn't as strong. So clearly he's worked on his physicality, his fitness. He's clearly lifting a few weights as well to get stronger, but it's his game. He's so still. Those little punts that he can hit down the ground, which come from no bat lift. He's just there and then can just kind of pounce on anything that's slightly off, both on the front and the back foot. And he's very calm. Very, very good leader. I think he trusts his game. I think he has confidence in his game against all the different skill sets. I don't think there's a weakness in his game. You generally have a player who's very good that just has a small weakness. Everyone has weaknesses, but I look at him and think, he's got none. You know, he plays the short stuff against the quicks excellently. Can pick up the slower balls against spin. He's got great options, both on the on and the offside.
Yes.
He doesn't play too many sweeps. You know, he's quite a straightforward player, which is a step hit down the ground. Miller's the same. It's only really Quinny de Kock and I guess Brevis that plays the trick shots. The rest of them are very much geared towards hitting down the ground. But you're looking at a group of players. Rickerton comes in. He looks in great form. Quinny at the top of the order looks in great form. You know, the two in the middle, Miller and Brevis, are in great form. That's why they're looking the dominant side at the minute, because all their players, and that's the bowlers as well, they're all in terrific form. So they're going to take some stopping. And it's just, the only thing with South Africa, I mean, they've won a World Test Championship final, which was massive for them.
Yes.
And I think that they're kind of, they're confident because of that. They've got a trophy, but they've still not had a white ball trophy.
Yeah.
So when it comes to that back end, the semi-final, the final, if they make it there, they'll be very lucky getting to the final because it's their home venue.
Well, they've made
That's
Ahmedabad
exactly
the
right.
fortress, haven't they?
Yeah.
5 out of 5 for them now. So this has become their home fortress. And like Michael has said, you should expect an India-South Africa final. That, for me...
Maybe.
Yeah, I know, of course,
I mean,
maybe.
there's still England's obviously.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
This final.
No, but
I
of
was
course, the
actually
way
waiting
South
for that.
Africa has played, the way they've gone about things, they've looked like a very whole-rounded team, right? So it's obviously maybe, but they've just been playing very good cricket.
Yeah. Well, you look at England's group and you start thinking, where do you want to finish? You know,
First or second,
England,
yes.
New Zealand, that game on Saturday will decide who finishes top, who finishes second. Let's be honest, I think South Africa will probably finish top in this league. If I was in England and New Zealand, I'd want to win that game on Saturday for many reasons. Obviously for the momentum of what your team is doing, but also to avoid South Africa.
Yes.
Yeah, the only thing I feel for South Africa, challenge for them would be now no over complimenting the things. No, just keeping it really simple.
Which West Indies did, like Michael said.
Yeah, and that's what we spoke about. Akil Hussain is probably top 2, top 3 bowlers for the West Indies, and that's what they missed. Bowling well in power play, he done that for the West Indies, so that's what they missed. We spoke about Axar as well. We'll talk about Axar in some time, but the challenge for South Africa is keeping it really simple for now. Winning the World Cup takes this format, basically staying humble, respect the game, respect the opposition, which they've been doing. Sometimes that over complications, whatever you think, it harms you. So I think if they play like this, I'm sure they'll be in the final.
Well, South Africa have played brilliant cricket today. West Indies will want to go to the drawing board and see why they probably complicated things when they were doing so well so far. But we need to move our attention now for all Indian fans. I know every Indian fan joined us here at 2:30 to listen to what's happening on Cricbuzz Live. Watch the entire match because every Indian fan knew how important this game was for India. That's out of the way, ladies and gentlemen. Now, the men in blue have to focus on what they have in their hand. Ajinkya, Michael, the reins are back in India's hands. All they need to do is win their next 2 games, play without any pressure. I know there's a lot of pressure, but they just need to go out there and execute their plans.
Yeah, you've got a spring in your step, haven't you, as an Indian fan? I can see the energy in your voice has gone up. They're at a ground that obviously they know so well. That's the real challenge for the Zimbabwe players. They came to the Wankhede for what would have been, for most of the players, the first time. It's hard. We saw that with the bowling, and it'll be the same in Chennai tonight. That not many of them would have played too many games, whereas all the Indian players have played so much cricket at that venue. The crowd will get a lift from what's happened in the afternoon, and I can't see anything but a good Indian performance, particularly with the bat. They're not going to bat as badly as they did against South Africa. That was a real blip. In the last 2 or 3 years of T20 cricket, very rarely do you sit after a game and go, the Indian players have not arrived.
Yes.
I don't see them not arriving again. And I think tonight will be that night where they can put a little bit of a marker down and say, right, we're back. It's a great opportunity because, you're looking at a Zimbabwe attack, which it's gettable, it's hittable. They're an attack with a little bit of experience, but I think the likes of Abhishek Sharma, who's not been in great form, it's a great chance to go and get a score.
Yeah. Yes.
Go and get a bit of confidence, and it's not a free hit, because any team can beat any other team, particularly in T20 cricket. But some of these Indian players will feel that tonight's the night that they can just get a little bit of time in the middle, get a score, and it puts them in good stead for the next game, the big one against the West Indies.
Ajinkya, Michael said that India had that little blip against South Africa with the bat. As Indian fans, it almost feels like the complete Indian dominant side we haven't seen yet, because the game against USA, the game we started with, the batting was rescued by Suryakumar Yadav. Against Pakistan, that there was that middle over sluggish phase that we saw. Against Namibia, towards the end, we lost 5 quick wickets. Against Netherlands, they came 17 runs close. And against South Africa, 76 run loss. So for India, coming into the campaign, they were just so dominant with the bat, with the ball, in the field as well. We haven't seen that side in this World Cup yet, in this 5 games, you think?
Yeah, I think the expectations before the World Cup on the Indian team was much higher. I mean, yes, playing in India, all the fans, everyone wants India to win all the matches. But I think sometimes, it's in a way, it's really good that you are not getting a perfect game. Everyone is not contributing. I feel we were talking about England. England is basically finding the way to win. I think India at the moment, the players who are contributing, not everyone is doing really well. I think you spoke about Suryakumar Yadav doing well against USA. A few other guys who did well. I feel it's a really good sign. And the last game against South Africa was a wake-up call. You need games like this in big tournaments so that once you are in the semi-finals and finals, you are switched on completely. So, I look at in a positive way. I think it's a good sign that Indian team, a wake-up call, the last game, but also the Indian team is finding a way. If the top orders are not doing well, the middle orders are contributing. We saw Shivam Dube doing well. We saw Rinku Singh doing well. Suryakumar Yadav in the first game as well. So as long as you are finding a way and also you are improving every game, that's what matters. And this format, you can't take anyone lightly. Tonight against Zimbabwe, and the real challenge for Zimbabwe is basically, yes, playing against India, but playing in Chennai. That stadium can get really loud. The noise in that stadium and the fans will come today because South Africa has won the match. They know Indian team is back in the race. So real challenge for Zimbabwe, getting used to the noise in the Chennai stadium and also the playing against India. But I feel it's a good thing for India. The players who are actually putting their hands up when the team is needed, when it's needed, and then they're doing it really well.
Michael, Ajinkya said that last match was like a wake-up call for India. For Indian fans, it was a jolt because it wasn't a wake-up call. Indian fans fell off their beds because we were completely shaken. 76 runs. Losing was not a problem because you will win some, you will lose some. But the way India lost was the problem, which hurt a lot of Indian fans.
Yeah. To be hammered was a big shock to me. I mean, if you lose, generally, an Indian side should only lose by a small margin. They almost like threw the towel in with the bat in hand, which is not what you want in a tournament play, because net run rate, as we always know, is going to play a big part. They've been given a life today.
Yes.
And the one thing I say, when you've got such a powerful batting lineup and it's so deep, Rinku's been coming in at 8. It's very important that the top 4 don't leave it to the middle.
Yes.
Just because you've got such a powerful, yes, you got the freedom to play. But T20 cricket generally is quite a simple game that, the top 3, one of them has to get a score for you. And when you get the big scores, it's because one of the top 3 has taken responsibility to bat through to around 15. And then you can have cameos around it.
Yes.
Without one of the top 3 going up, I'll get us a score, I'll get us over 75, then you're running the risk down the back end. You don't want to run the risk with such a good team. And for India to win the World Cup, I think that top 3 is going to have to fire. Individual, it's not going to be the same individual every game. Sticks the hand up and say, right, I'll get us a score. And the rest, the likes of Sumikura, Sky can come in and play cameos, or you look at Hardik when he comes in and blasts, Shivan Dube, Rinku himself. If you can leave them down the back end to play those cameos, the top order's done their role. So it's so important, whatever the format of the game, that you have players that take responsibility, even when you've got so much depth.
Michael and Ajinkya, you're both talking about how keep it simple. Keep the selection process simple. Akhil Hussain wasn't taken. We couldn't figure out why. After that loss against South Africa, actually even before the loss, when the team was announced, everyone was completely flummoxed because no one had an answer as to why there was no Axar Patel in the side. We are going to chat about it. There's all due respect to Washington Sundar, but your vice captain Axar Patel has time and again proven why he's such an important player. He puts his hand up with the bat when India is in a sticky situation. We know what he gives with the ball and what he does in the field. Do you have an answer to that, Ajinkya?
See, you need player like Axar Patel, because as I said, and I've been saying this throughout.
Yes.
There are not many players who are actually doing well in that. If team wants Axar to bat at 3, 4, 5, he's there for you.
Absolutely.
If team wants him to bowl in the power play, middle over, death overs, he's there for you. So you want a player like him. I mean, the attitude, the character which he brings, the energy which he brings to the team, it's amazing. And he is the vice captain, but the performance which he has done for the team in the past, not only is this format, but you take Test cricket, ODI cricket as well. I think he has done it for the team. His record against left-handers is amazing. I think better than a right-hander. So, I think quality player like him, everyone was surprised why he was not playing. But again, I'm sure no Indian team will correct that tonight, and Axar Patel will be back in the team. So, I think, as I said, there are not many players who can play that role. You need guts, you need character, and you need to be brave to do that.
Well, before I come to you on Axar Patel, Michael, the news from the centre is Zimbabwe have won the toss and they have decided to bowl first. It's a very important toss to win in Chennai because we know that dew plays a very important factor there. Ajinkya, you've played a lot in Chennai. You know that even yesterday during the practice sessions, there was a lot of dew because I went back and saw some of those sessions. So this is a very, very important toss that Zimbabwe has won.
Yes, I think so. But see, toss is the thing which you can't control. Indian team is probably looking to keep it simple, put runs on the board. We have the bowling attack which can defend any kind of total. So just with Bumrah, Varun, Hardik, Ashdeep, I'm not sure what's the team, but I think we have the bowling attack which can defend the total. I think for the Indian team, what is important is just keep your head down, focus on the controllable things, start well. As Michael said, great opportunity for Abhishek to get in form before qualifying for the semi-finals and finals. So great opportunity for him and other batters as well. So just focus on the controllables. Focus on your strengths as a team, and then everything will be fine.
Well, Sky said that they wanted to bat first, so he's all right with the way the decision's gone at the toss.
Yeah, and I'm surprised by Zimbabwe. I know there's dew, but you look at what they did against the West Indies, where they bowled first and went for over 250. I think the way that Zimbabwe can potentially win is by batting first. You say to an Indian side that didn't chase against South Africa all through, well, go on then, go and chase tonight. But I'd be interested to see how Zimbabwe cope with the ball. They started quite nicely against the West Indies, and all of a sudden, the wheels started to come off, and that potentially is what could happen tonight. I see India coming out, and they play with sense at the start. They don't need to try and whack the first 2 or 3 overs, just play, and then 1 or 2 sixes will go, and then suddenly Zimbabwe should find it very, very difficult to bowl to this powerful batting lineup. But Sky would have batted first, so would I. Get the runs on the board and get a big score and try and put Zimbabwe under pressure.
Well, the news from the centre is that India have 2 changes, and there's been so much discussion about these changes. But what I hear is that Sanju Samson is in for Rinku and Axar is in for Washington Sundar. So I love that reaction, Michael. I love it. It's did you not
so the
see Sanju
the vice captain's back?
I'm happy to see Axar back. I'm happy to see Axar back. I read Rinku had some family emergency. I hope everything is fine at his house, at his place. But happy to see Sanju Samson. Another opportunity for him to do well. Not sure what number he's going to bat, but really happy to see Axar Patel back in the team.
Well, these are the changes there. We have Sanju Samson up at the top, but like Ajinkya said, we don't know where he's going to bat. And Vice Captain Axar Patel finds a place in that 11. There is no Washington Sundar and there is no Rinku Singh. Michael, it's been such a pendulum for Sanju Samson because he was in, he was out, he's in, he's out, he's back in now. He hasn't really been in the thick of runs. So India need him to get the runs as well. Sanju Samson has a completely different fan base. He's an extremely talented player. So we want him to show up today with the big night.
Yeah, and apparently he's going to keep wicket as well. So he's a class player. And sometimes when you're in and out and you don't think you're going to get another opportunity, that opportunity arrives and you relax and you just play.
But where do you think he's going to bat?
I've no idea.
I think he'll open and then Ishan Kishan will drop at number 3. But look at the people's reaction. He's going to play for Chennai Super Kings from 1 month from now. You see the people's reaction once he walks on the field. So I think it's a great opportunity for Sanju Samson to express himself, because that's going to be his home ground 1 month's time from now. A very quality player. I've been telling that he should be in the playing 11 since the beginning, but again, it was completely the management call. We're not sure about when Rinku Singh will be available. So this is an opportunity for him and Abhishek Sharma again to get the runs, get that form going, get that rhythm going, and take it forward.
Well, Ajinkya knows a whole lot about the crowd at Chennai and how it is playing for CSK. Sanju Samson will be there in a month's time. But today, in the blue colours, Michael, I don't think anybody has the answers to where Sanju Samson is going to play. Ajinkya thinks he's going to be opening, but then that basically means altering around everything. That means everyone drops down by one.
Yeah, that's fine. I think Sanju's best position in the order is at the top. That's when he's played some of his best innings. So I would think he'll go at the top. And, you know, new combination. That might just get Abhishek going. You never know. It was...
Also, it breaks the constant left-hander combination that was going, which is also a positive.
Yeah, maybe that's what they've gone for, but it's a good team on paper. I mean, Axar back in it, he had to play.
Yes.
He had to come back in, so that strengthens India. And then you've got Bumrah, Chakravarti. I mean, it's a high-class team. It's a team that should not lose.
Yes.
You know, tonight they should not lose. They should get a good number. Some of the players should get some confidence. The only way that they'd lose to a team like Zimbabwe is probably complacency. Well, there's no ounce of complacency because they need to win because of the state of the tournament. So I get a sense India will put in a good performance tonight. I think they'll like flex the muscles and say, look, we're back. We've been given this lease of life from what's happened in the afternoon. And as I said, the crowd will go, well, they always go nuts for India anyway. But to think Sanju's going to play, should I say the local player now in a month's time, so that he'll get a bigger cheer than normal. Axar will probably get a bigger cheer because he's back in the side. And I would expect a very good performance tonight.
Well, we spoke a little bit about Axar Patel, Ajinkya. We just, want to chat a little bit more about Ajinkya, about Axar. Before we get there, just quickly, let's have a look at Zimbabwe's playing 11, see if they have any changes. They have one change there. Kremer is out and Maposa is in for Zimbabwe, but otherwise they've gone ahead without any changes there. But, for Zimbabwe as well, it's a little unfair because everything that we've spoken is about India, India's campaign, India breathing all right. For Zimbabwe, this is a very important game because if they don't win this game, Michael, their World Cup comes to an end as well.
Yeah, and they've replaced the leg spinner with a right-arm pace bowler. So whether that's because Kremer got hit quite brutally at the Wankhede or whether they've seen the conditions and feel that it's not going to be a spinning track, only time will tell. But they've had a great World Cup. To get to this stage is fantastic, and they'll know that if they can win tonight, it'll be one of the greatest shocks in World Cup history. I mean, for a Zimbabwe team to beat an Indian side that has to win in Chennai would be an incredible feat. So no one's expecting. There's no real pressure other than the players themselves will feel the pressure because you want to perform. And, you look at someone like Blessing Muzarabani, he knows that he's been bowling great and who knows what might come of it if he has a good night against India. I always say every time you get a chance to play against India as an individual player, you're only one performance away from potentially getting into the IPL or getting into one of these franchise leagues. So playing India is always an added pressure game for any team and any set of players. And one or two of the Zimbabwe players has a night out, does great, gets runs, does well with the ball. You just never know what's going to come of it.
Absolutely. You said that it would be one of the biggest upsets. And funnily, the captain, Sundar Raza, said that maybe we've not been good enough. This is what he had to say. He said, how many of you have picked Zimbabwe to be in a semi-final? Clearly one. So maybe we haven't done enough yet. So clearly we've done enough, but not well enough, or not enough for all of you to raise your hands. So hopefully I'd like to see that one day. This is what Sundar Raza had to say to the media, Ajinkya. I remember you've led India in Zimbabwe 2015, 2016. I think he was around, or you've interacted with him as well. He is the leader that Zimbabwe needs because he's someone who knows how to motivate the team.
Absolutely, yes. I mean, we played against each other as well. I know him really well. Comes across a very studious guy, as in understands the game really well. He's been playing other leagues around the world as well, so very well experienced guy. Speaks well, and the more important thing is the attitude. It's important, like playing for Zimbabwe, leading Zimbabwe. It's not easy to get everyone going. You need a captain, you need a leader like him probably to take with you. To take everyone with you. So I think he's been doing really well. Let's appreciate Zimbabwe. I think whatever they have done in this tournament, it's really good. Everyone is actually talking about Zimbabwe. People might not think that, people probably they'll think they'll not qualify for the semi-finals, but it's a long process. It's a long way to go for them. But whatever they have achieved so far, it's been amazing. For them going forward from here on, the consistency. The playing against the big teams, that's what matters, and that only comes from the confidence, from the attitude. And I think personally the attitude which the Zimbabwe team have at this moment is amazing.
Yes.
We spoke about the changes, Zimbabwe team changes is probably because of the dew factor in Chennai, and also we have seen in the past as well the fast bowlers have taken wickets. So that's one of the reasons probably they have gone with the pacer, extra pacer rather than a spinner.
Well, for all of you who've just joined us in, the news is that Zimbabwe won the toss. They've decided to bowl first and India will be batting first. The two changes is Sanju Samson is in for Rinku and Axar Patel is in for Washington Sundar. Michael, again, I want to go back to that opening combinations for India because the average has been 6.8 when you talk about Ishan Kishan and Abhishek Sharma. The openers haven't fired. You were chatting about it and you said that the 1, 2, 3 positions, someone has to go big, someone has to get those runs. These have been this has been the stand for India and the opening combinations. Again, today, do you think we're going to see a change because it's clearly not worked with Ishan Kishan and Abhishek?
They haven't got past the third over as a pair, and you can change the combinations, but they've just gone through one of those patches where it's just not been quite working at the top of the order. But you're only ever, one innings away and one combination away to success in this format. I guess losing early wickets is down to the style of play that Suryakumar and the coach is trying to get them to play, which is ultra aggressive. They bat to number 8 pretty much with Axar coming in at 8, so I think it's almost like a free hit. But I think they're better than that, and if they have 2 overs where it's 0 for 10 off 2, I don't think they should concern themselves, because the next 4 they'll probably make up. And you got to remember from after the power play right through to the 23rd, these guys can hit the boundaries.
Yes,
they can clear the ropes. So I don't think it's necessarily always about winning the power play. It's about being smart. Sometimes you take 2 or 3 overs to understand the conditions and understand the bounce, the pace of the pitch, and you're looking at the dimensions of the ground. And just because you've not smoked it for 3 overs in the power play doesn't mean that you can't smash the next 17. But I get why they go hard, but I would say to them tonight, just give yourself a breather. Just give yourself, they're going to bowl bad balls because they're under pressure. You've got to remember, put yourself in the shoes of the Zimbabwean bowlers that are coming out to bowl with no experience of bowling on this venue to a packed crowd. How many's in there? 40,000. They're going to be nervous. So they're going to bowl you bad balls. So you don't actually go chasing, just play. And I'll guarantee with the way that they play and the skill that they have, they're going to score naturally at 7 or 8 by just playing. New ball, 2 fielders outside the circle. And if they bowl really badly, you probably score on that. And if you get to that 3rd or 4th over and you're still there and you've seen everything and a new bowler comes on, then you can get a 20 run over, and then you get to that 55, 60, 65 in the first 6. But the first 2 or 3, I don't think they need to try too much against an inexperienced attack.
Well,
also, the thing about the opening, we were talking about the opening partnership. There's only one guy who's been being there is Abhishek Sharma. So Shubman Gill batted with him, then he got dropped. Sanju Samson came and batted for 5 T20s. Sanju got dropped, and then Ishan Kishan. It's very difficult when you change your partner, being an opening batter. It's always about the understanding. I feel the partnership, it's always about the communication, the understanding what other batsman is playing. Abhishek and Ishan, I felt the similar kind of batter. Really high risk cricketer, high risk batter. Getting failure is pretty much there. In this format, if you play high risk cricket, you're bound to fail. Shubman, at the other hand, was pretty much safe, and Abhishek was a more attacker. Sanju, we spoke about Sanju again. He batted in the middle order, and then came top of the order. It was difficult for him, and then changing him with Ishan Kishan. So it's difficult as an opening pair. If you constantly do that change, it's not going to be easy. But as I feel, the way Indian team is playing at the moment, attacking cricket, playing with freedom, so you're bound to fail.
Ajinkya, it's interesting you say this because T20 cricket has moved so differently in different directions where everyone is attacking in that power play. We are seeing this across countries now, different franchises as well. When there is a Abhishek and an Ishan, they are constantly attacking. But maybe if it hasn't worked and they get Sanju Samson in, do you think as a management, as a coach, should go and tell him, take your time, like Michael's saying, take your time. Let's get an opening partnership going, which we haven't had through this World Cup, or do they stick to their guns saying we bat till 8, go for it?
See, I feel the messaging from the management is really important. Sometimes take your time means player can actually go into defensive mode. And as a management, you don't want that. Basically, no, if you can tell a player, just play your natural game, play your game, we are there to back you. No, you will be playing certain number of matches from here on or whatever. So I think the messaging from the management is going to be important because every message has a different meaning.
Yes.
So I think from captain and the coach's point of view, what they tell the players is going to be really important. So I feel to Sanju, if he opens and Abhishek Sharma, if they can play the natural game, if they can back their strength, I think they'll be fine.
Michael, we know that they're attacking batters who are coming out.
You're thirsty then.
Yeah, I've been chatting so much, and I'm also getting
Even
dry
I
in
am
my throat
thirsty.
because
Even I am thirsty.
there's an India game coming up. We know South Africa has won, but there's always that butterfly in your stomach when you're getting in to watch a big India game. We're chatting about the three openers who are coming in. There is someone who's coming in from the first floor to bowl to them. The blessing.
Yeah.
So he bowls from that first floor. He is a skyscraper up there, and he's someone who likes to pepper that short ball in. Do you think we're going to see a lot of that today?
Yeah, I mean, I think where he's been good is that he's changed his length for the conditions. It's not always short, but clearly if he can get it down and the pitch has got a nice element of bounce to it, from that height, he's always going to get the ball going up steeply to the batter. So he's had a good World Cup.
Yes.
I think he's a very, very good bowler. He's getting more and more experience. He's got 100 wickets now, so he's been around for quite a few years now. And I know there's quite a few teams looking at him. Who knows? He might play in the IPL. You just never know. Jinx, dear. You just never know. But he's produced some really good performances, and Zimbabwe have come through some difficult games because Bennett's been consistent at the top. Sikandar Raza has been excellent, and Muzarabani's been so good with the ball in hand. So to put an Indian batting lineup under pressure, he's going to have to strike early.
Yes.
He's going to have to get a couple of early wickets, and if he does that, you just never know. You might restrict India to a 170, 180 score, but if they come out and play him well and get a couple of the pull shots away or a couple of cut shots away, we could be looking at one of those kind of 240, 250 scores once again.
Well, he's picked up 11 wickets in this World Cup. He got a 4 against Australia. Ajinkya, do you think, we looked at that pitch map, would you like him to bowl those shorter ones, or do you want to ask him to, pick a leaf from Rabada and Ngiri's book and, probably bowl those wide Yorkers, the slower ones, and mix it up a little more?
See, firstly, I think Zimbabwe is really blessed to have Blessing Muzarabani in their time, in their team. He's been doing really well. So I think whatever he has done so far, the bowling hard length, short balls, I think he should just stick to that. Chennai wicket at times, if it's a hard wicket, it can produce extra bounce, extra pace. So I think if you
and
can
he's someone who gets that steep bounce.
Yes,
also, right?
6'8", and coming from that height with hard length. So I think if he can just stick to his strength, just back whatever he's been doing. I mean, that's what as a captain I want from him, that he should just back his strength, use the pace, use the dimensions of the ground. I think he'll be fine.
Also, Michael, it's just that, like you said, a lot of these Zimbabwean players haven't played in Chennai. It's just such an overwhelming experience to go in such a noisy stadium, like you're saying. Sikandar Raza is going to have to tell Blessing that, we understand the pressures on your shoulder, but just stick to the basics, stick to what you've been doing.
Yeah, I mean, you'll try and cover the basics, but whether the basics are going to be good enough, we'll have to wait and see, because you cover the basics against an Indian side, they'll probably know what's coming. I think in T20 cricket, you want to try and be unorthodox as you possibly can. And it's just whether the Zimbabwe attack has that. I'm not too sure whether they've got a couple of bowlers that can just deliver a little bit of unorthodoxy. Muzarabani is probably the only one that I look at for. If he gets it right, he could easily get 2 or 3 wickets, which is what Zimbabwe require. But I would say there's probably a number of the Zimbabwe teams never been to Chennai.
Yes.
Never mind play there. This will be the first time there. So it's a great experience. They'll be learning all the time. They've had a terrific World Cup, but for them to get to that next stage, they just need more experience. As a group, they're quite a youngish team. And I would think that this group of players should stay together till the next T20 World Cup, and if they can get more games and more opportunities within that time, and it might not come with them playing for Zimbabwe because the Future Tours program is pretty much set, but if more of these players can get picked up in the franchise leagues around the world, that's where they're going to get experience, and they're going to get to be in the dressing rooms with the likes of all these legendary players, different coaches, different conditions. That's where I see the associate countries players will improve by getting picked up in the franchise league. I can't see with the calendar how they get more series crammed in against India, England, Australia, South Africa, because there's just no, unless they suddenly add another 150 days in the year, I just can't see how the calendar will allow that. So the experience for these players will come from playing in these different franchise leagues around the world.
Well, that's where the growth is as well, because we know that Blessing Muzarabani was in that RCB camp this time. We don't know. Although Michael did try asking Ajinkya, we didn't get any answer there.
Gave nothing away, did he?
He gave nothing away. The poker face there. We'll know very, very soon who the KKR bowlers are going to be. But I want Ajinkya chat about a little more serious topic. Is we spoke about the top order. We spoke about the problems up top that India has had. But there's one name there who was in great form. Then Tilak Verma had that injury. And then he's come back. He's just not been able to find that rhythm, because he gets to that 25 and then he's not being able to convert, especially the middle overs. He's just not being able to convert that strike rate and go a little higher.
I think as you rightly mentioned, he was in very good form, but then he got injured. As a player, as a batter especially, when you get injured and then coming back from injury, it's never easy. We all know that as a batsman, when you're going through a very good phase in your career and then suddenly you get an injury, coming back from the injury, the rhythm is never same. No, even if you're working doubly harder.
Yes.
But getting that rhythm during the game, it's really hard. So I think for Tilak Verma, he needs to believe in himself that he is a quality batter. He can win the matches for the team. Forget about what has happened in the past. He's been struggling against spinners. Just forget about that. Just if he can just have that belief in himself, just try and remember all the good innings he has played for the Indian team in this format and also for the Mumbai Indians. He has won many matches for the Mumbai Indians as well to coming on that number. So I think it's always about the belief. Coming back from injury, that's what I have learned personally. If you can keep it simple, just have that belief. At this level, it's always about the mental game. Skill wise, you are absolutely there. It's always about the mental game. If you can mentally believe that I am there to win the match and I can do it for the team, it will happen automatically. Your body and your mind will react automatically. So Tilak Verma, he has to remember that, as I said, quality player, just be in the moment. Forget about what has happened, the injury and everything. New game, new day, new start. Just go out there and back himself.
Well, Michael, we know what he's capable of, because like Ajinkya is saying, he is a quality player. But the worry has been that he's getting to those 25s, he's not converting them to bigger numbers. And then the worry is that he's not being able to tackle spin. Like Ajinkya said, forget that you're struggling against spin, but what do you think is a bigger concern?
Those numbers don't lie there. You look at the power play where he's been very good, striking at 145, and in the middle overs on striking at 86, and it'd be interesting to see where he bats. Now, with Ishan Kishan coming in at number 3, you'd think that obviously Sanju will be at the top with Abhishek. It wouldn't surprise me if he's used as an insurance policy. They lose two quick ones, he'll probably go in. If it's outside the power play, you've got to think that Sky will come in at number 4. Yeah. He's a brilliant player of spin, and he's certainly got the ability to get 100. So you want Sky in there as quick as possible. Yes. He might just be a floater. Yeah, he might have to just float for this next couple of games to see how it goes, but he's a better player than those strike rates. I've seen him dominate spin. I don't think he has an issue with spin. He's just got some lowish numbers just over the course of the last few games, but when he's at his best, he's an aggressor. And he can play some beautiful innings and some tremendous strokes. So I think this format really exposes you. In Test match cricket, if you're out of form, you can just bat time. Just say, all right, I'll just look at the clock and it's 11 o'clock at 11:30. I just want to be here. Yes. It's irrelevant how many I've got. I just want to be there. In 50 over cricket, it gives you that time to just play for a few overs and give yourself a chance to get into rhythm. This format's brutal. It really does expose, because we're just talking about averages, strike rates, dot ball percentages, boundary percentages. It's a game just full of data, which I think as a player, I've never played much T20 cricket, but I think sometimes as a player, I have a huge amount of empathy for them in T20 cricket, because there's like an overkill of information. And maybe he's just having one of those moments where he's looking at those numbers and thinking, oh, God, I'm a terrible player. Well, he actually isn't. He's just got to go out and play. And, you know, you're one innings away in T20 cricket, and those numbers change very quickly.
Well, the news is that Sanju Samson is out with Abhishek Sharma. He is opening for India. So all those questions around where Sanju Samson is going to bat have been answered. He's come out with Abhishek Sharma. We were chatting about Tilak. Now it's interesting to see what happens with the remaining batting lineup. Do they follow the order with Ishani Kishan, Suryakumar Yadav, or they change things around depending on how India gets going? But we'll also see Zimbabwe is playing 11. They have that one change as well in their side. They have decided not to go ahead with a spinner. They've got Maposa in because they want some more pace in Chennai. We're in Chennai. We know it's nice and flat in Chennai. We know that there is dew in that second half as well. We should get our guesses going because we didn't do very well. Michael, you got off the mark, but then not the last
Wasn't
innings.
far off. I'm
69.
going to say 225.
That's what I had said, but Ajinkya.
Do you want 225? I'll take 230.
No, I didn't
If
want.
you
I
want
said the last game I'd gone 221, but 225 for you.
I'll go 210.
225, 210. I'm going to stay in between and play safe. I'm going with 220. That's what I have in mind. All right, guys. It's going to be an exciting game. The little news I have for everyone here is that I don't want to stress you all out. There's no need to get stressed out, but just in case it rains out in the India-West Indies game, you all should be aware of what India needs to do today. India needs to win by 148 runs to go above West Indies in that net run rate. But relax. This is just that if it happens, if there is a storm, we should know what we need to do. We've already done the calculations at Cricbuzz Live. Ajinkya, thank you so much. Michael, thank you so much. We'll go and order some food and some dessert, and we will join you all at the 10 point at the Cricbuzz Combox.